a New York Jet highlight right here on the show. It's been forever. That was a New York, even though they lost the game, you still gave a New York Jet highlight.
Is that the
last?
It
wasn't a New York Jet low light.
May I? Was 2004 the last time?
Excuse me. May I have a moment?
You can have your moment.
The lack of self-awareness by the man at the end of this set, right? The lack of self-awareness. A season in which he came on this show in the season preview talking of a Dallas Cowboy Super Bowl run. The lack of self-awareness. A man who has an I in his first name and 2 in his last cannot look in the mirror right now. Did that just happen?
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about some good teams.
All right, let's do that.
Put that out there.
I was about to make the turn.
Teams, Rich.
Out there.
As I just mentioned about 3 minutes ago now, the winner of such a game between 2 undefeateds this late in a season, even though it is still early, obviously, overall, goes on to win, or at least make the Super Bowl. Which team playing today undefeated has the best chance to do that, Steelers or Titans, Kurt?
Rich, I already said how much I love the Titans. I love the way Ryan Tannehill is playing since he took over as a starter. Been great this year. Derrick Henry, King Henry has been phenomenal this year. But I also talked about the liability, in my opinion, of where their defense is now. They're ranked 25th or lower in just about every defensive category. And so with that in mind, I'm going with the Steelers. We know great defense right now. They're playing good on the front end and the back end. They've got Big Ben back. Now, their offense, to me, isn't necessarily stellar yet. You know, they haven't put it all together with a lot of young receivers on the outside. But you have a guy that's been to the Super Bowl. You've got a guy that brings the big play mentality to go along with the big play mentality of their defense. I like the Steelers as a more complete team. So if one of these teams I believe is going to make a run to the Super Bowl, I'm going to say it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, and I will go with the Steelers also. And I always look at it, especially when you're talking about a run to the Super Bowl, because somewhere in here, in that run, when you're going through the playoffs, they're going to make you do what you don't do great. You know, they're going to get Tennessee and say, hey, okay, we're going to slow down Derrick Henry some kind of way, and we're going to make Ryan Tannehill beat us. Kurt, I know you say he's been playing well, and so we'll have to see if he can go the way through that. Ben Roethlisberger has been through that. Last year in the playoff, Ryan Tannehill averaged 123 yards throwing. And he had under 100 yards in 2 of the 3 games he played in. Ben Roethlisberger, in those years that he took his team to the Super Bowl, increased his passer rating each time. Big moments is what this game is all about also. And Big Ben shows up big in those big moments.
And just to add to what you say they're going to force you to win a way that's against your strength.
Right.
And I'm going to say they're going to force you to win with the other side of the ball. Is that oftentimes you get in the playoffs. I remember when we got in '99 and we were high scoring, greatest show on turf. You know, we won the NFC Championship game 11-6. That at some point, that other side, that defense of the Titans is going to have to win a game for them. Can they win that game?
Yeah, the weakness, the glaring weakness, and when you're talking about their Titans defenses, they're last in the red zone. You got to make people kick field goals, not touchdowns. They're last on 3rd down conversions. You can't get them off the field. How do you win Super Bowls if you can't get the other team off the field on 3rd down? But let's take a look at this, because I'm saying the Steelers have the best chance, you know, of to get to the Super Bowl. You know, Big Ben is playing well, you know, and their defense is very, very well. But you know what? They're also 4th best on offense, scoring offense. So like you said, Kurt, they are the most complete team, where the Tennessee Titans have a glaring weakness on defense. Heck, they might win the game today. But for the long haul, getting to the Super Bowl, you better play better defense.
And 2 great coaches. 2 great coaches. Now, so the coaching will get taken care of. That's why it'll be a great game.
And it was just week 6 of last year when we were in London, somebody stormed out of dinner when the Jets were beating the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, my God.
Who stormed out of dinner?
But it was not a highlight on
and
this
then
show.
we had to pay that person's portion of the bill because they left.
Well, it was dine and dash.
Pasta was to die for, too. So you know he must have been really upset to leave the food.
Hey,
because the last time those 2 teams met on an NFL field.
I remember that, Rich. I remember that vividly.
Speaking of short memories, For all you millennials out there, Bill Belichick and the 49ers go way back, well before he traded Jimmy Garoppolo there to eventually quarterback the 2019 Niners to the Super Bowl. No, once upon a time, Belichick coordinated the New York Giants defense that twice interrupted and eventually ended Joe Montana's dynasty and career there. Today, the two meet again in New England, where Jimmy G returns with a chance to send Belichick to a 2-4 start after his dynastic Tom Brady run in New England, while attempting to take the defending NFC champs back to the future himself.
The outcome of the Super Bowl berth hangs in the balance. It's a touchdown for the 49ers! And the 49ers have won the Super Bowl. Let's go! And a title for the Patriots!
This is the greatest football team I've ever been around.
Another one of those Joe Montana drives.
Ball tipped. And Julian diving for it.
I can't believe it. They did it again. Jerry Rice, his third of the day.
Back to back.
Gilmore's there. Intercepted. Drop him. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Just a great, fun, huge Week 7 late afternoon matchup in Gillette, for which Mike Giardi's standing by. Mike?
Rich, we're all fired up for this one, but there are 2 teams in this matchup, San Francisco, New England, that are not meeting expectations. But one of those, the 49ers, are at least coming off a victory, that Sunday night win over the Rams. And George Kittle said that was a game in which we looked ourselves in the mirror and we fixed our issues. His coach, though, Kyle Shanahan, said it was that lopsided loss to Miami that was a game changer for his team. He said that took us to a different place, and we found another level. Now we just need to continue that. Meanwhile, in New England, 2 straight losses, and they've scored just 1 touchdown in those 2 games. Julian Edelman said, we're usually pretty urgent around here, but quite frankly, this just sucks. We have to practice, we have to prepare, and we have to get a victory on Sunday. Rich, back to you.
Well, Mike, it's been 18 years since the Patriots last lost 3 straight games. 2002 was the last time that happened. They lost 4 in a row from weeks 4 to 8, following up that championship season, the first with Brady in charge. They finished that season 9-7 and missed the playoffs. How concerned are you about the current state of the New England Patriots?
You know, I'm concerned about their passing game. I think their defense is fine with all the changes that they've had, guys opting out and guys on other teams right now. But it's the passing game. And think about it. Cam came in late, right? No off season. Of course, in training camp, he was splitting. He was trying to win the job. He wasn't getting every rep. Then he's out for a while with COVID. So their passing game, heck, the last 2 games that Cam's played, he's only thrown for 157, 162 yards in a league where everybody throws for 300 yards. That's how we play now. The run game's great. The defense is great. But the passing game will be a work in progress. They've got to get better and more consistent in that area. Otherwise, I'm very concerned.
Right, we're going to show a little bit of it in Warner's Corner later, but I agree with him completely, is that if they can run the football, they're going to play good defense, and you even saw that last week against the Broncos. I mean, they held the Broncos to 18 points on a bunch of field goals and gave their offense a shot late in that game, but it came down to being able to throw the football, and, you know, Cam, as good as he's been throughout this league, he still's got some deficiencies when it comes to throwing the football if he's got to throw the football to win. You couple that with the guys they have on the outside. Julian Edelman seems to be banged up, not quite the same guy, even though we know he's a big-time playmaker. But outside of that, Irv, I'm looking around going, okay, who else can I count on? Who is going to step up and make those big plays, or as we keep talking about, the game-changing plays for this offense? Because teams are going to force them, just as we talked about in the last block, going to force them to do what they don't do well, and that's throw the football to beat us. They had the 1 game against Seattle, but outside of that, they haven't been able to consistently put together a pass game.
And there are 2 things that I look at here, and I will say, I'm not saying I'm concerned, but I will say this here. You know, these are 2 unique running games that both of these teams have, both teams, Patriots and 49ers, 2 unique running games. Josh McDaniels, he has to come up with ways to make sure that this game stays close. He has to know how to run Cam, what to do with Cam, because I'm telling you, Cam's emotional right now. Cam's best year is when he was doing 2015, when he's doing the Superman thing. That's when he got to the Super Bowl. They were having fun. They were playing emotional football. He's emotional right now. He wants to show that he knows that in New England, because I do a radio show there, in New England, They are used to Wagyu beef. And this hamburger stuff that he's been given,